Okay. Stand by for 10, everybody. Okay, 5. Stand by 4, 3, 2, 1.
How can South Africa reclaim its streets from criminals?
And that is this evening's question. This is Elections 360.
A very good evening to South Africa and those watching around the world. My name is Blaine Herman, and this is Elections 360. We come to you live from Langa in the Western Cape, and no better person to be by my side to navigate the choppy waters of Elections 2024 than Sakina Kamwendo. Hey?
Well, thank you so much, Blaine, and no better person to be by my side than you, Mr. Herman. And of course, this evening, signing for us is Teme. And many thanks also to the city of Cape Town for hosting us here this evening at the Langa Civic Center. And of course, this evening's topic, crime and policing, in sharp focus tonight here on Elections 360.
Looking forward to the discussions. Let's tee it up, though, Sakina, for the viewers and our audience as well right here. And there's a number of questions that we will be asking tonight. One of them is, does South Africa have a coherent as well as a measurable strategy to combat crime? Why? We know a lot of areas are plagued by crime, and be it from social environment to business, be it from murder to gangsterism. This is what police are dealing with on a daily basis.
Indeed they are, and I think the people of Cape Town, as well as everyone in South Africa, very, very well averse to this. So this evening, before we kick off the proceedings here in the hall, we do what we always do. So our producers go out onto the streets in the city or the town that we are visiting, and this evening we went and visited Khayelitsha, one of the townships here in Cape Town, and of course listen to what the residents had to say. Cele is one of our producers, and this is what they found.
4 of the Western Cape police stations are in the top 5 stations in terms of the number of reported murders in the country. This according to the most recent crime statistics. KwaZulu-Natal's Inanda police station is ranked number 1, followed by Mfuleni, Gugulethu, Nyanga and Khayelitsha.
Sample size of 7,340 meters, it was established that arguments, misunderstanding, provocation remains the top causal factor leading to the 1,116 murders. It is also concerning that of the 268 gang-related murders, 250 of these murders were reported in the Western Cape.
In Harare, Khayelitsha, residents say they live in fear because of the high crime rate in the area.
Harare used to be a place where you say you are safe in your house, but not anymore now. You feel very scared in your own house. You don't know exactly where you are free or you are safe.
Isiphatha kabuhlungu kakhulu tata, and into esiphatha kabuhlungu ukuba bayabanjwa ongeva benza izinto baphinde baphume kungakhange sibo ifamily iqolile yiloo nto leyo.
Uba mhlawumbe nayinto enosinceda ngento yoba angazama iyouth kube nee-meetings ezenziwayo or ezi-organizations zithile apho sizoxoxa khona ukuthi silinga njani ukuze kupatrolwe, like abantu abahlala apha ekuhlaleni bancedisane namapolisa babe ne-communication bona bonke.
Residents are calling on the government to put in place adequate resources to combat crime in their communities. For SABC News, I'm Khayelitsha in Cape Town.
All right, many thanks to Cele for that context. Context always important on Elections 360. No time to waste, let's get straight into it. I want to introduce my panel now, lined up 6 political parties, starting from my immediate left. We have representing the African National Congress, General Bheki Cele, representing the Democratic Alliance in Cameron. The Economic Freedom Fighters is represented by Nazir Paulsen. The Good Party is represented by Herron. From the Patriotic Alliance, we have Cheslyn Steenberg. And from Jama-ah, we have Advocate Shameemah Salie. Welcome to you all. Now we're going to get straight to it. Important issues to discuss. And the umbrella question is really, can South Africa take back its streets or reclaim its streets from criminals? You'll be given a minute each to explore this topic in terms of your opening remarks. The clock is in front of you. I will no doubt have to interject if you go over, just for time's sake. We need to get as many questions from the audience as possible. So let's get it started with you, General Cele. Your minute starts now.
Yes, indeed we can, as we are doing. Maybe giving a short history now. From the 8th of May last year, we launched what was called Operation Chanela. We have arrested 664,000 criminals in South Africa. That is more than the full prisons, as we speak, 44% overpopulated. But the crux of the matter that you can't arrest everybody in South Africa. The government, as a government, will have to work together, national, provincial, and we'll come back to that, what is supposed to do. Here in front of me, there is a document called Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy that is supposed to be anchored in the Office of the President, in the Office of the Mayors and Office of the Premiers. Maybe at a certain given point, they will have to tell us what have they done as the document of the government says so. But indeed, working there, arresting, we come back exactly on the things that we are done at the present moment.
Right. We'll explore that in further detail. The Democrats in Cameron, your minute starts now.
Yes, so I think it's important to mention that we hear about all these arrests, but you know that 85% of murders in South Africa go unsolved. There's no integrated strategy between the police and the Department of Justice. The Minister would know that last time he said that they have got nothing to do with convictions. I understand that, but without a well-investigated docket, you can't have a conviction. So prosecution rates are at an all-time low. It basically means that almost 9 out of 10 murders go unsolved. And this very community can bear witness to it. I think in short, there's a massive vacancy rate in terms of SAPS members, and we need to fix it from the top down and from the bottom up. Training is not of the right quality. We've got a shortage of hundreds of training officers. We've got a major problem with cadre deployment in the national structure of SAPS, so too provincial. If we don't fix that, we cannot change it.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's now hear from Nazir Paulsen, representing the EFF. Nazir, your minute starts now.
Thank you very much, Blaine. I think the problem that we have with crime, first of all, the EFF solution to crime is very practical. 100,000 new policemen on the street by the end of 2026, more vehicles for policemen, and policemen must be visible in our communities, not just appear when after the crime has occurred. But over and above that, Blaine, I think here in the Western Cape especially, this is a crime scene. And it's a crime scene because blacks, Africans, and coloreds are excluded from any economic opportunity, economic activity, and that leads to high criminality, especially amongst African and colored young people, and men in particular. So this Western Cape is not very friendly towards African and colored people, and we need to ensure that and it's only the EFFs.
All right, Nazir, we'll explore the further details. Unfortunately, time has run out. Let's hear now from Herron from the Good Party. Your time starts now. I can hear you. Go ahead.
think that the starting point is we will not address crime and solve crime if we focus only on policing. So yes, we need better policing, and policing needs to be better resourced. We need policing to be more effective, more efficient, and more responsive. And they need to finish their investigations and hand them over for prosecution. But unless we address the root causes of crime, we will never eliminate crime in South Africa. And that means we have to look at the unfinished business of redress. We have not finished redressing the imbalances, the injustices, the oppression of apartheid. We address the socio-economic conditions that are conducive to crime generation. And unless we address unemployment, socio-economic conditions, the unfinished business of apartheid, the legacy that many communities still live with, the communities that are crime-ridden live with, we will not fix crime policing alone.
Brett, thank you very much indeed. All right, let's hear now from the Patriotic Alliance, represented by Cheslyn.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I think what is important for us to realize is that our current policing is not conducive to the needs of the people. Therefore, under a Patriotic Alliance government, we will relook how our detectives are deployed. Currently, detectives they are overburdened with dockets. Our WISPOL units cannot really do what they need to do because they are understaffed. You probably have 2 or 3 officers on duty per shift. Our CPU is understaffed, probably 1 or 2 members on duty. Our specialized units is non-functional. Our laboratories are not functional. But moreover, within this particular province, we have law enforcement within the city of Cape Town and Metro Police being played up against each other, not promoted. The resources is not there to fight crime, yet the DA wants to come and purport that they are working. Working for who? Working for a minority in this particular province. So under a PA government, we will ensure that crime was fought.
Cheslyn, thank you very much indeed. Cheslyn Steenberg represents the Patriotic Alliance. Let's hear now from Advocate Salie. Advocate Salie represents Jama-ah. Advocate, your time starts now.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening and mulweni to everybody. If you want to get rid of crime, you start with your government. You change your government. You make sure you have people with the necessary qualifications and skills in government and who doesn't have a criminal record. It starts from the top down. You want to get rid of crime, then you need to look at the reality. Our National Prosecuting Authority, our SAPs are not qualified and they are not trained to the capacity. They're not provided with the resources needed. Your reality is crime is already, when it starts, when you do your criminal investigation, you already failed. By the time the matter comes to prosecution, it is gone. Our people has lost faith in the justice system. They have lost faith in government, but you can bring the change. What we also need to ensure is that we have more women representation to ensure the welfare and best interest of our communities and our children. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Advocate. We need to take a quick break. As you know, this show is audience-driven. When we come back, we're going to flesh out some of the utterances from my panel. Also, go to Sakina to get your burning questions right here in the Western Cape. We're live from Langa. Quick break, more next. Welcome back. We're live from Langa in the Western Cape. This is Elections 360. We're talking about policing, we're talking about crime, but not only in the Western Cape. We're taking a national picture. We heard about the crime statistics, the third quarter crime statistics. Operation Chanela, said to be making a serious dent in terms of serious crime, in terms of violent crime, in terms of organized crime. It's been around for about a year now. We've heard that over 600,000 suspects have been arrested. Good. Why? Because it encourages those to make more arrests, men and women in blue. It's a good thing. But also when you look at the third quarterly stats, over 7,000 people lost their lives, were murdered in a space of 3 months. So the question is, how do we get to that better place? How do we improve the situation? How do we put paid to the current murder rate? We're going to get some lived experiences. As I said, this show is audience driven. Let's head down now to Sakina to get some questions from our audience here. Sakina?
Well, thanks so much, Blaine. And of course, talking about stats, and if we break that down further, if we look at what the stats tell us, they tell us that our ratio of police to the population is 1:417. For every 417 people in this country, there's one police officer. And then if you look at the numbers further, according to the 2022-2023 financial year, the South African Police Service had 179,502 members, 1,159 police stations, and of that, of the 179,000 rather, 502 members, 145,246 were police officers, 34,256 were administrators. So those are the stark numbers that we are dealing with in order to try and combat crime in this country. But of course, it's all about the audience. So we're going to get the audience views now. Please name and your question as sweetly as possible.
Member EFF apha kwaLanga Ward 51. Ndicela ubuza iquestion pha kutata uCele. Okokuqala bawuceba singaxoxisi, asina police station thina apha kwaLanga. Ikhona njengegama. Ikhona njengegama. Unyanisile yethu ukuthi ikhona. Ngoba ikhona inceda bona banemembers zamakhadi ANC.
Question, Baba?
Bandibuze ke bawucele. Bawucele bendisekelwe ngumama wami nge-27 ka-April ngoku. Ndayo reporter emapoliseni. Khange afika amapolisa till to 9 o'clock azohoya icase yami. Ndaze ndaphinda ndadutyileyo abanye bam endibaziyo basekhaya. Nayo ireporter loo nto zange baze. Ndicela ubuza, ingaba amapolisa njalo ayawenza umsebenzi wawo na? Zikhona iibhena xa zihlala ezimolweni nasematsheri nabo ubusuku bonke. Ngoba bawucele imoto yamatsheri amapolisa kangaba bantu ANC bangcola kakhulu. Banamamembers amakhadi. Ndiyacela akhona amapolisa anjalo nasebenzayo angabahoyi abantu bendawo yawo.
Thank you. Let's take another question.
Hello. I am Cele from Good. My question goes to Brett. The DA has admitted to taking money from health and education to add to the safety plan, which is failing. What does the Good agree with the approach?
All right, those two questions there. Let's just take two more, and then I'll come back to you, Blaine, to get some answers.
Good evening. My name is Jama-ah, and I'm a DA activist. I'd like to pose my question to Ian Cameron. 800,000 jobs is part of the pledges. Are there training programs to ensure our youth as part of this job pledge? And how will this reduce criminality in the Western Cape?
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Bulelani. My surname is Sikyani. I am from Langa. I am part of the ANC. Minister, I pose this question to you. You spoke about an integrated report that speaks to the approach that involves the national government, the provincial government, and the local government. Currently here in the Western Cape, we have the Metro Police, we have LIP officers, and all of those structures, part of the provincial government and the local government, which we do not find in our communities currently. They are everywhere, in every suburb, every urban area, and all of those areas have crime prevention apparatus by the provincial government and the local government. Now, how can we strengthen that report you talked about so that we can hold the DA-led government accountable for the lack of policemen, for the lack of officers in our communities such as Langa? Because currently we are dealing with a high crime rate, we are dealing with people who are getting killed each and every day here, but we have the local government and the provincial government telling us that there are LIP officers, there are Metro Police and all of those people. How can we hold them accountable, Minister? Thank you very much.
Okay, Blaine, let me give that back to you and we'll take a few more.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Sakina. Let's go through it. General Cele, I think 2 questions to you, one of which was the integrated approach, and then we'll move down the line.
Well, the first raised by the member of the EFF, that the police station that did not respond accordingly, we are having structures that are looking after the delinquent police officers. One of them is IPID, but also internally we have Inspectorate and ACU Anti-Corruption Unit. So I would urge that if the member is not satisfied, reports to the IPID, because IPID investigate any criminality or any bad things that police do to the community. But personally, I will take the details of the person so that we find that, because those police that do that don't belong to this organization.
Is it a common complaint that you hear?
Yes, we do. But at the same time, it does say there are police that are doing the good job. I would want to make that point. Many, many thousands of South African police are doing a good job, and we have definitely.
Let's give the general a chance.
Definitely, we have a few rotten. We have few rotten potatoes, like all other sectors of the community. That happens. I was at Kukuletu last week. On the stage, I had to reward and award a young man where the whole hall stood up and said they have never seen such a good police. I have his name. I can send him to them to speak. So we do have bad police, but we have very, very good officers doing the work on the ground.
With regards to the integrated approach,
the DA?
The integrated approach that needs to be
The integrated approach, indeed, as I said, to say, they're supposed to be anchored on the presidential as it is national. I haven't heard much about the same thing in the mayor here and the premier's office, but the constitution instructs the government at all levels to work together, but especially local government and the national government. That's why the Metro Police are defined in the constitution and legislation as a multiplied force. They're supposed to work together with the police, but in Western Cape it's separate. For instance, they're not capacitating the Metro because they don't want to work under the command of the provincial and national command. They come with something that is only them, they know what it's called LEAP, and that LEAP is outside the constitution. You could simply say, you could simply say DA in Western Cape, they are constitutional delinquents because they don't follow the constitution. Well, of late they say they'll correct it. Of late they will say they'll correct it by training 1,000 Metro Police. At the present moment, they have 625 Metro Police and and leap, which is supposed to be within the metro, but because they don't want to follow the constitution, they do what they do.
Okay, I'm going to get into. I'm being told that I need to go to a break, but Ian, I can't go to a break without letting you respond to that. Please respond, and then I'll get to Brett.
Yeah, I think there's only one constitutional delinquent in this room, and it's the minister sitting next to me and the ANC. The ANC has failed in every single constitutional responsibility to combat crime in this country. How can you justify 85 murders per day? The minister talks about all of these arrests, but your conviction rate is at an all-time low.
Let's give him a chance.
I'm sorry, it's purely unacceptable. And I would like to make some comments regarding LEAP. I don't know, you're not making sense. No, just regarding LEAP, Minister, I just want to correct you. There are let me speak. There's 1,200 people in LEAP at the moment, not 2,000, Metro Minister. 1,200. Well, I'll get to the dispatching now. Just in terms of the integrated strategy, the city several times offered the South African Police Service 500 new radios because the cops in Cape Town don't have radios to communicate. I blew the whistle months ago, and after a hell of a fight, we managed to get radios out to them as an interim. And still to this day, a unit like the anti-gang unit, 1, doesn't have a commander, 2, doesn't have enough radios, 3, doesn't get training. And you know what the worst part is? The good cops that try and work get danger pay of 700 Rand a month, but cops that aren't first responders get over 21,000 Rand per month. So what about the good men and women on the ground? So it's just, it's not right. The last one, in terms of discipline and inspectorate, in this very province, in Lentegeur, lately, there was a young police officer that was transporting drugs for one of the renowned gangs in the areas with a police vehicle. After blowing the whistle, after he was fired, the provincial commissioner overturned the ruling and just transferred him to the Western Cape. Now, all of you from the ANC, if you can justify transferring, if you are transferring drug dealers, then you are complicit in dealing drugs.
All right, Ian, thank you very much indeed. We're going to get Brett's take in a short while. I have to take a quick break. We're live on SABC2 as well as the SABC News channel. We're going to get more of the panel's responses to your questions as well as more of your questions. More after the break. Welcome back. We're coming to you live from Langa in the Western Cape. We're talking about policing, we're talking about crime. Look, prevention, combating crime, arrests. These are the three key words in order to keep you and your family safe. Are law enforcement effective in doing this? A number of questions were thrown to our panel. Let's get to it. One of it before the break was to Brett Herron from the Good Party. Brett?
Yeah, thank you. As I said at the beginning, focusing on policing alone will not address crime. And the Western Cape Safety Plan is a 2 billion rand plan that is focused entirely on putting boots on the ground. Although the plan mentions that we will do a little bit of social development work, what they focused on is putting boots on the ground. And their commitment was that they would put 1,000 law enforcement officers, but actually they are called learner law enforcement officers. They would put them in the 10 most dangerous precincts in Cape Town, with the highest murder rate. And the promise and the commitment was to halve the murder rate in those precincts. Now the stats show us, and Sakina was giving us stats earlier, that this is a complete failure. Complete failure. A 2 billion rand investment taken from education and health's budget to put boots on the ground, under-trained learner law enforcement officers to halve the murder rate in the most dangerous parts of Cape Town. I'll give you the stats because we must stick with stats. 2020, that's the first year that the LEAP has been operating. They've been operating for about 9 or 10 months. There'd been 1,584 murders in those precincts. 2021, this is a year later, the total number of murders is now 1,692. It's gone up. And LEAP has been operating for 18 months now. Third year, 2022, the number of murders is now 1,720 in those most dangerous precincts. So we're going up. The fourth year, this last year, 2023, the total number of murders was 1,778. So this plan of putting boots on the ground, these LEAP officers who are undertrained, unqualified, and operating illegally, have not halved the murder rate. We're not even seeing it come down, we're seeing it go up. If there's ever if there ever was evidence that boots on the ground will not solve crime alone, this is the evidence, and this is a stupid investment by a stupid political party that has got poor leadership. The Premier said when he launched this plan that if his plan didn't work, his head should roll. Well, the plan's not working, the Premier should resign.
Right, severe criticism with regard to the LEAP program. Ian, respond, and then I'll get it back to Sakina.
Well, thank you, Greg. I need to correct a few things. Firstly, I'm going to start with good. Your leader doesn't know the difference between a washing line and a border fence. If I take it further, there are 1,200 LEAP officers in the city. LEAP is not responsible for investigating the crimes. They can't. They're not allowed. They hand the docket over to SABC.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
No, it's not true.
It is true. Brett, let me speak. I'll let you speak.
Brett,
you let me speak.
Let him finish,
they hand it
and then
over
we'll come
to
back
SABC, and there's a less than a 0.9% conviction rate on those dockets. So over the last 2 years, over 700 guns were taken off the streets. There's less than a 1% conviction rate. By national government, you need to understand the different mandates. National government is officially nationally mandated for policing and prosecution. That's why we say devolve it so that it can be done on provincial level. It's that simple. No. Otherwise, we have to keep on arresting the same criminal. Brett, I challenge you to go walk the streets of Rockland.
Your Western Cape
where they shot 40 people last week.
Halve the murder
keep
rate.
interrupting
You're not halving the murder rate.
By 2029, Brett, you need to include the stats. It seems that you only read halfway.
No, Brett, all the stats.
All right.
Again,
let's hear from
the definition between a washing line and a border fence. Said enough.
Thank you. We got your point. Brett,
it's really important. You know why? Because the DA lies with statistics.
No, you can't read statistics.
First of all,
you seem to struggle to read.
Ian, let him finish his point.
Ian doesn't know the Western Cape Safety Plan. In the Western Cape Safety Plan, there's 1,000 boots on the ground. Now it's gone up to 1,2. Even worse, given these stats. 1,2 boots on the ground. Plus, each of these precincts has got an investigating unit that was under Talmakis, who is arrested for docket fraud in Mpumalanga, but that's besides the point. Each of these precincts has got 100 allocated investigators to do the crime investigation, which I asked the minister in a question to Parliament, do these people have investigating powers? He said no, but the City of Cape Town persists with the investigating unit. So they are doing their own investigations. But the point really is, this is not about investigating. You said you're going to put boots on the ground and halve the murder rate.
By
You put boots on the ground and the murder rate went
By
up.
2029.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Nazir, Cheslyn, and Advocate, we're going to come back to you. Sakina, it's back to you.
So let's take a few more questions from the floor here. And as we always urge our audience here, short, sharp, to the point, sir. Your name and who your question's directed at, and the question sweetly.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum and good evening to everyone in Mulweni. My name is Ali. I'm from the Jama-ah political party. I'm also been 15 years chairman of our neighborhood watch. I would like to ask the DA, when you on neighborhood watch and the resources are available, why only certain people that belong to POCs or dogs or stupid gets as resources to combat crime? But if you don't belong to them, then unfortunately your resources is minimized, especially in the Western Cape. Secondly, rates, water is also a crime that we are the highest in the state. Selling our land to designers is also part of crime.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Let's take another question. Ma'am?
Molweni, igama lam ndinguNompumelelo Magcida Khangelani. Mna ndimele i-neighborhood watch. Ndimele i-neighborhood watch nje ndinombuzo phaya kurhulumente ophetheyo amapolisa. Ndizaba nawo nombuzo oya phaa kwi-DA. Ndifuna ubuza phaa kurhulumente, phaa kutata wethu uBheki Cele, okokuba kutheni lento i-neighborhood watch ningazirecognize ziqeshwe? Kodwa i-neighborhood watch zenza umsebenzi omkhulu owenziwa ngamapolisa, ziqeshwa nini? Ndibuye ndiye phaa kwi-DA, why i-neighborhood watch zaseBondiville ziqeshiwe zisebenza kodwa uLanga akasebenzi? Ziqeshwa nini sizi-neighborhood watch? I-resources zethu ziphi?
Okay. So those two questions to Mr. Cele and Mr. Cameron. Let's just take two more, sir.
Thank you. My name is Salanati Gagai. I am from SAMU. I just want to first pose a question to the other parties that are there. The DA, this DA and Ian, this year dismissed 108 workers from LEAP. From that 108, only one worker is a colored. The majority is females. And I want to first ask the DA, why did they dismiss these workers without giving them adequate training? These workers were given 5 days for a firearm license. They were taken for assessment. Then they were failed. They were never assisted. The legislation in South Africa is saying before you dismiss any worker, you must empower that worker. The DA failed to do that. They did nothing to empower these workers. Secondly, I want to go to the other parties that are there. When we said the DA has dismissed over 100 workers, only the ANC made a press statement. All these other parties, I want to ask why did not say anything. Lastly, I want to go to the minister. Minister, would you dismiss workers when their firearm and driving is not perfect? Or would you train those workers? Because LEAP, they do the same work as the police.
All right. Thanks so much. One final question, and then we're going to take a quick break.
Yeah. So, firstly, I want to appreciate Minister Cele actually by giving some teachings to his guy next door, next on the left-hand side. I think his utterances shows an appalling levels of illiteracy, of constitutionalism. Now, my question is directed to Mr. Cele. Based on statistics and facts of these problems that were experienced in crime, which one is so rigid, persistent, that need attention? Seemingly, after 2029, we are going to take over both national and province. Which areas are we going to focus on in terms of giving attention? Yes.
Right, and that's where we're going to leave it. We need to take a break here on Elections 360, and we'll come back and get answers to those questions. How do communities reclaim our streets?
See this time around. With regard to some of the questions about resources, etc., please weigh in.
Well, I want to part on the next door here. He's a political orphan. Really, I don't know why they sent him here. I don't know why they sent him. They should have sent somebody that understands the matters of this province. He just joined about joined few weeks ago. Even where he comes from, that society comes from Afro Forum, exactly where he comes from. So he's a literally political orphan, doesn't understand the matter. To start with, there are no radios that came from him to the police. We have just purchased 1,000 new radios of a high tech for the South African Police Service here. They are not police, they are with them. Last week, we've opened a new police station at Makaza here. We are building a university police station at Tafelsig. Last week, I had a meeting with the mayor of the city to find the land to build the station at Brown's Farm because there is so we are working, sending more police and sending more equipment. We gave 162 cars. We have given 264 cars in May. So we
Minister,
are working
one
at the police.
One of the criticism that was posed, reportedly, at least one media reported that people were saying they waited for so long for this police station in Makaza. Why now?
Indeed, we are looking South Africa. We are not just working with the Western Cape alone. As we are building police station, there are places in South Africa where you take 2 taxis when you go to a police station. So we have to balance that. But up to this point, this administration, the 6, has built more police stations in Western Cape more than anywhere in the country. They can't say the national government is not taking care of this problem. What are they not doing? Is to work with the national government because they want to be a Republic of Western Cape, come out of the unit of South Africa. We are urging them, let's work together, let's put together all those resources. One thing I want to respond to. You are not going to say South African police are inefficient, they can't investigate. In this province, we have arrested top criminals. Top criminals are in there, they're not. We've arrested Ralph, right. We have Maddock, we arrested Donkey Poison, we have arrested Rafa, we arrested Fire, we arrested Sticks, top criminals. All of them are not getting bail they've tried, which means they have a case to answer. And those people are investigated by South African police.
All right,
they don't march to prison. They are sent there by the South African
Just due
police,
to time,
who are very efficient.
I need to hand it over to Ian quickly. Your response?
I'm going to have a quick response. First of all, the police closed 5.4 million dockets over the last 5 years due to insufficient investigation. The Minister replied this to a parliamentary question. Second of all, in terms of the radios, Minister, 3 weeks ago, a sergeant in Atlantis was shot and killed. When the police helicopter arrived, they had no radio to communicate with the members on the ground that had to do the manhunt. If you take it a little bit further, Makaza, that land was given to national government in 2018. Tafelsig was given in 2014. Why does it now, before an election happened, that you spend 24 million rand on a prefab building? And you know what's the worst part? No new cops. They took cops from Harare and from Khayelitsha and put them there. So now you're further diluting the already diluted station. And then my last two comments is that in terms of the new vehicles, you gave the K9 unit vehicles without space for their dogs. So now you have a K9 unit with a normal police van. So where do you put the dog? And on top of that, SAPS only has 3 narcotics dogs in the entire Cape Town. And then lastly, I'm sorry, Minister, you say I don't understand policing, but you call yourself a general. You never earned the rank.
All right, Ian, thank you. Just to put you in the picture, we're fast running out of time for SABC 2. We're going to come back and wrap it and give each party a chance. But Nazir, let's pick it up with you very quickly. Let's get your take on it.
Thank you very much, Blaine. Blaine, I think it's really disgusting that six years after they got the land to build the police station, that in the year of election we have a 24 million rand prefab building in Makaza. This is what the ANC government thinks of the people of Khayelitsha and Makaza. We need a government that's serious about preserving black lives here in the Western Cape as well as everywhere in the country. And we need a government in the Western Cape that's going to be serious about ensuring that they give economic opportunities to black people here in the Western Cape, unlike the current DA government.
Advocate Salie, your take?
Thank you. Right, I am, to be honest with you, I'm quite exhausted about listening to the blame game that's going up here. Our people need hope and they need answers. Right now, as we're sitting, people are being murdered. Right as we're sitting, gangsters are invading homes. As we are sitting, rape is happening. We are not talking about the real things that is happening in the Western Cape and in the rest of South Africa. Our reality, as I'm sitting, I've just received a message from an individual within SAPS who has indicated that he's in the position now where he wants to resign from SAPS. He is exhausted with the amount of work he has to do and with the lack of resources. Right now, we're pushing out numbers, what the quality of the work. Cases is coming in and it's going out. Criminals coming in by the one door and going out by the other door. We are tired. I am here for the sisters and brothers of South Africa, our people. Right here in Langa, how many smash and grabs happened? My own daughter was nearly hijacked on the 22nd of January here in Langa. But I am here. There is social economic issues that we cannot ignore. DA took how much money from health and education? Eyes in the sky, boots on the ground. Now let me tell you, I'm in Langa, Khayelitsha, I'm in Hanover Park, I'm in Manenberg. I stood, Honorable Minister, I stood in Manenberg at a petrol station where I told them where the guns are, where the drugs are. Law enforcement and SAPS looked at me, but they were too afraid to go in.
All right, Advocate.
This is the reality on, not just in our area, on the Cape Flats. Our people and their needs are being ignored. We need solutions. What is the solutions?
All right.
I've said it before. Get rid of the corrupt. Get skilled people, qualified people, and train our SAPs properly.
Advocate,
give them the resources.
We have to
law
pause it there.
enforcement. They don't have the ability to implement law. On a contempt of court order, when they brought in the bylaws, do you remember the bylaws where the taxis was taken off? Private vehicles was taken in.
All right, Advocate,
there
let's
was a
pause
court
it there.
order for them to release vehicles.
We have to take a break.
They refused. They said they're above the law.
Advocate Salie, we have to take a break. We're going to get your closing comments now. Quick break, closing comments next. Stay with us. Welcome back. We're live from Langa in the Western Cape, talking policing, talking crime. We just have enough time to wrap it up for the S2 viewers, but we will be coming back on channel 404 with more debate. So let's get our closing comments. Cheslyn, I'm going to start with you because we haven't heard from you in this round. We're going to get 1 minute on the clock. Obviously, we'll take the discussions further later on. But for our S2 viewers, let's just sum up your offering to the viewers.
Look, under Patriotic Alliance government, we are saying that we will really give targeted budget to the policing in particular. And when we say targeted budget, it means that we will ensure visible policing. We will ensure specialized courts for gender-based violence. We will ensure that our specialized units are properly managed, properly accounted for, oversight and budget allocations given there too. But I think it's important that we understand that training and development of our officials is quite important, but also salaries are important. If a police officer is paid below the belt, of course we are opening the door to corruption. Of course we are opening the door to other options. And so under a PA government, we will ensure that our men and women in blue are paid the correct amount that they must be paid, a living wage, but also a good wage.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Advocate Salie, your minute starts now. Advocate Salie, your minute starts now.
Just on the question.
Yeah, just with regards to wrapping up your final thoughts.
Okay. So bottom line is, people, we need to understand that, I said that we can't look at things in isolation. As Jama-ah, we know that education is vital, that we need to ensure a good education for our children, and that the education system also needs to be changed so that our children has work. Employment, nobody's speaking about employment. Employment is important. Our people need employment. That is one of the issues that also arises into crime. The criminal sector, we have to have people who is skilled and qualified. We need to give them the resources, and as Jama-ah, we need to appreciate the work that the police does. We need to understand the work that not just at all levels of government needs to work together. And we need to understand that we cannot work as political parties in isolation. All political parties need to work together. Our reality is things are going to change. Strong possibility we're going to have co-governance. And in that, we are going to find similarities in all of our manifestos in order to ensure the welfare and best interest of our people
Thank you very
and
much
to end
indeed.
crime.
Your time is
Thank
up.
you.
Brett, your time starts now. Your final thoughts.
So while we work on improving the quality of policing, including the distribution of policing resources, both human and equipment resources, we will focus on, as I indicated, the root causes of crime. So we would be looking at, first of all, in the socioeconomic space, introducing a basic income grant of 999 Rand per month to all unemployed South Africans who are unable to find work in an environment that's not creating jobs. We will be looking to grow the economy in a way that does start to create jobs so that people are not stuck unemployed. But we do know that it's going to take a long time before the 13 million unemployed South Africans become employed. So we will provide them with basic income. We will look at the infrastructure disparities between the areas that are crime-ridden and those that are not, like where I live, and fix the infrastructure, fix the services in those communities, and make sure the social services and amenities are adequate to eradicate crime.
All right, Brett, thank you very much indeed. Nazir, Ian, and General, we're going to get your thoughts at the top of the hour. We have to say goodbye to S2 viewers, but thank you very much indeed for joining us. Time is never enough.
Absolutely. And of course, we'll see you again next week. But of course, we continue on SABC News 404.
Welcome back. You're watching Elections 360. We're live from Langa in the Western Cape. We're talking about policing. We're talking about crime. We share a lived reality, right? We share common concern. And when there's common concern, there's a need to work for a common good. How do we root out crime in our society? A number of panelists here have their ideas. Do you agree? Do you believe them? Is it practical? This show is audience driven. Let's get more questions from the floor, then we'll get some responses. Over to you, Sakina.
Indeed, Blaine, it's audience-driven, it's national, and I think a very important question was asked on the other side that remains unanswered about pooling of resources and the importance of the community policing fora and what is happening with them. I think that question remains unanswered, so for the panel to take cognizance of that. And also, you know, when we talk about these resources, one of the panelists mentioned the guns that were stolen from police, but think about it. If in Gauteng, your three biggest metros there, you have the Johannesburg Metro, the city of Tshwane and Ekurhuleni combined. Did you know they have 14,000 cops for all of those people in Gauteng? So I think we can we start to get the picture of just how dire it is. But of course, let's get some questions. Again, short, sharp, to the point, your name and who you want to direct your question to.
Okay, thank you very much, Sakina. My name is Tulani Mambi. I preside in Langa, Ward 51. I'll pose a question to the Minister and also to the led DA government. Minister, since you are very aware that they are rotten police, they are rotten investigators, they are part and parcel and working also hand to hand with the crime syndicates, what is your contingency plan on regarding such to remove those officials? We know very much that the police SABC is not a magistrate. So what they do is that they are the ones that are taking the crucial evidence and provide it over to the magistrate so that the magistrate could make rulings on such. So, Mr. Cele, do you have an action plan to get rid of those corrupt investigators, officers, and police officers? And to the DA, we know very much aware that the DA here in the Western Cape only protects the so-called CBDs and the so-called white dominant areas, because as my fellow comrade from the ANC stated that they are city police, they are lead police officers, but you'll only get to see those lead police at the CBDs. However, the townships, the black townships, are excluded of such services. We also want, and we are demanding such deployments of city officials to also come to our townships.
Thank you. Let's take another question, yeah?
Good evening. My name is Nongaba Kamle. Only have one question to Ian. Can you please unpack the safety plan designed by the DA governed Western Cape? Please.
All right. Let me just quickly take two more, and then I'll come back to you, Blaine.
Igama lami ndinguThulisile Mbane, ndihlala eNyanga ka-Ward 38. Umbuzo wami ukuthatha uBrett. What does good has been focusing on adding more police and high-tech gadgets to fight crime. So what does good think should be done to win this fight?
Right. Let's give it back there to the panel, Blaine, for some answers.
All right, thank you very much indeed, Sakina. Let's go to General Cele with regards to rooting out corrupt cops.
Well, maybe the question raised about the community structures. Indeed, the CPF is a legislated structure at the present moment. And that's why, for the first time last year, we budgeted them 70 million rands, which was the first time that they get equipment, they get cars and all that, because they are recognized by the government. Indeed, Neighborhood Watch, we have not reached the level where they've been recognized at that level, but they are doing the good work. Everybody recognizes, not only them, and the communities in blue. Therefore, that's why some provinces are doing something to help them, especially Gauteng when it comes to the community in blue. And here, the only problem in Western Cape, they pick and choose. They pay some and they don't pay some. If they can just work with them, that will be very much okay. But again, the question was raised of the shortage of the police. That's why we are training so many police. A year before last, we trained 10,000. Last year, we trained 10,000. This year, we're training 10,000 because we want to deal with that ratio that you have been raised, the visibility of police and all that kind of thing. So, unfortunately, there are misrepresentation of facts here. It talks about 5 cars that are given to the K9 that are not fit for it. Young men would buy cars and we modify them for the purpose. Those cars are gone to put those compartments that he talk about, so they don't tell him the proper truth. Another thing, he talks about 3 narcotics dogs in the city. There are 25 of those dogs in the province. And so we shift them if there is a necessity. So this misrepresentation of the facts here must not come here and misrepresent and lie to the nation with something that you
General, thank you very much indeed. Let me bring in Brett Herron from the Good Party. Brett?
The question was about technology. And I mean, obviously, if we want to improve the quality of policing, the policing must have the latest technology in order to do so. And that's not only digital technology and new innovations in crime fighting, but also just working in the most decent and basic conditions. The conditions in which the police work are quite frankly quite shocking. I mean, even if you go to the Hawks offices, they are dark, the lights don't work. The police officers are really expected to work in the most horrendous conditions. So we have to improve the working conditions of our police in order if we want to improve the quality of the service, and we have to equip them with the best and latest technology. But we would not be investing, like the City of Cape Town and the DA are investing, in ShotSpotter, which counts the number of gunshots that go off and then do nothing with that information. Because it's useless information, because by the time the police get to where the gunshot went off, the gangsters have moved on already. 40 million rand spent on ShotSpotter equipment is a waste of money. Drones in the sky, 30,000 rand an hour to fly these drones in the sky, these eyes in the sky. Right. But the gangsterism is not declining, the murder rate is not declining, crime is not declining. So when you invest in technology, invest in technology that helps the police officers to do their job better and not boys' toys.
Thank you very much indeed. Let me bring in Cheslyn from the Patriotic Alliance. Where do you see the solutions here? Is it technology, boots on the ground, understanding the root cause, a bit of both?
I think it's important that we understand that technology plays a very critical role in fighting crime. But one thing we need to highlight within the city of Cape Town, under the Sheriff J.P. Smith, they have wasted 820 million rand on ShotSpotter. Now the question should be, who is getting the kickbacks? Because that particular technology is protected by the sheriff, and they are moving resources from needy communities to spaces where the ShotSpotter must apparently work. And so the question that we should be asking, why is residents, why you and I have to waste 820 million rand on technology that is basically kickbacks to the DA. But another thing I want to make mention of as the Patriotic Alliance is that we are well aware of the current state of our Safety and Security Directorate within the city of Cape Town. So the DA shouldn't come here and paint a picture as if they are working and are making progress, because they are lying. Our statistics is fabricated. It is not the truth on the ground for our people. Law enforcement officers are undertrained, yet they are carrying weapons. Metro police officers, there's no real recruitment or even development within that unit. They are being held back from growing because Mama Zil, the people that Ian reports to, gave an instruction that Metro Police should not grow, and that law enforcement should grow because National wants to come in and see how they can make use of Metro Police. So the question should really be to the city of Cape Town. Okay. Who is the Safety and Security Directorate working for our people or for the Blue Party?
All right. Cheslyn, thank you very much indeed. So, We've reached a point now where we need to get some closing remarks on SABC News. We need to get the closing remarks on SABC News. So what I'm going to do is, again, the minute has to come up. Nazir, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to move down the line. Nazir, so your closing remarks, some of the questions as well. In a minute, your minute starts now.
Thank you very much, Blaine. Blaine, the fourth quarter report has not come out yet. The minister refuses to release it, but the third quarter report for the last year was that over the period October to December 2023, 250 out of the 264 gang-related murders occurred in the Western Cape. Now, if that does not tell you that the Western Cape is a war zone and the ANC government is doing nothing, ShotSpotter would be good if the police went in there, searched all those homes, removed these guns from our communities, arrest the gangsters, arrest the criminals who have illegal guns and terrorize our communities. But that this can be safe again so that women and children can walk the streets without fearing for their lives.
Thank you very much indeed.
We need a government that is serious about fighting crime, not a government that prances around with a minister and a hat on his head as if he's some
Thank you, Nazir.
We need a minister
represents the economic freedom fighters. We're running out of time, Nazir.
We're not going to just spend money on toys.
Thank you.
We need to be serious.
Thank you, Nazir.
But, Blaine, my last remark is Claremont has one policeman for every 150 people. Harare has one policeman for every 798 policemen. That is the disparity, and that is where the minister can actually change things for the people of the Western Cape, but he's doing nothing.
Thank you. Ian, your time starts now. Let's start the clock.
I'm going to be quick again. I'm going to start actually with a comment from the PA side. Firstly, you guys are the last people to talk about gangs and so on. You literally bribed with them 2 weeks ago in Malmesbury. You had a braai with all the gangsters. So let's just park that there. Then, just in terms of Brett's comment over SAPS, Brett, you want people to react, but SAPS is responsible for crime intelligence. So how is that going to work? I don't know. I think you've got a legal background, but it seems you're lacking some of that knowledge. Then the last few comments. We only have 2,500. We only have 2,500 detectives in the Western Cape at the moment. We lost 6,000 cops last year. So, Minister talks about training 10,000, but there are no new detectives and no specialized units. So how are we going to combat it?
All right, Ian, thank you very much indeed. Your minute is up. General Cele, let's hear from you. Your minute starts now.
I really don't know. I don't know what he talks about, no specialized units. Specialized units, the biggest one is here in Western Cape. That is anti-gang unit. That we have just put 47 more to make them 156. POP and all that. We have trained special task force. There are NIU. They are trained. Those they are here. But I want to urge and plead that all these honourable members or panel, they must go and read this document. It will help. The Integrated Crime and Violence Prevention Strategy. It talks about all the things that are raised. It's got 6 pillars. One of them. One of them, of those pillars.
Let's give him a chance, ladies and gentlemen.
One of those pillars is an early intervention. I went to Hanover Park.
Unfortunately, we run out of time,
one of
General
the members of the community,
unfortunately, we run out of time.
To arrest a 9-year-old. The reason because he doesn't go to school. Okay. That can't be the police dealing with that thing.
Yeah, General Cele, thank you very much indeed. Let's bring in now Advocate Salie. Your minute starts now. Your final comment.
Guys, the reality is there's no political will to stop crime. That is our reality. Minister, I'm sorry, you're talking about the 9-year-old. That is something different with regard to truancy, etc. Our neighborhood watchers, our communities are trying to take back their streets, trying to ensure cables are not stolen, basic things, stopping the auntie from being hijacked, stopping the robbery of our people, stopping the gangsterism, because SAPS is failing, LEAP officers are failing, and you come here and you talk about the 9-year-old. I've sent videos from Hanover Park, Manenberg, and other areas to the provincial commissioner on information I've received of where the gangs are. Nothing has happened. SAPS are tired. They are so under-resourced. They are so limited. We expect them to do all the work. I cannot believe that the investigating officer will not come out after 4:30.
Advocate
I
Salie,
used to work
thank you very
in the
much
NPA.
indeed.
I know how the system is supposed to work.
Advocate Salie
It's
represents
failing.
the
SAPS is failing. DA,
Jama-ah
Western
Party.
Cape
Thank you
is
very much
failing
indeed.
our people.
All right. Let's hear from Cheslyn Steenberg, who represents the Patriotic Alliance. Cheslyn, your minute starts now.
Look, I think what we really need is an integrated approach to policing that includes community intelligence, that includes that we need to relook the way CPFs are funded. And I'm glad to hear that for the first time, our CPFs now have been funded. But the sad reality is here within the Western Cape, under this blue government, this particular government thinks that we are an exclusive province because our CPFs are not given that resources. Our neighborhood watches is selectively resourced because that's a fact. They only resource certain neighborhood watches. They only resource in certain communities. But under a PA government, we will ensure that all structures that deals with safety and security is attended to, will be resourced, and they will be supported by our administration because they are serving the broader society and not only a few. Thank you.
Cheslyn, thank you very much indeed. Let's give the final word now to the good party's Brett Herron.
Thank you. I think you can see, certainly in the Western Cape, why we are not resolving the crime problem. Because you have a government that says we want the powers and we're going to take them whether they are lawful or not. So we set up a learner law enforcement officer unit that's called LEAP, and we put boots on the ground, and then the murder rate goes up, and then we say, oh, it's national government's fault. Then we say it's national government is not investigating people, even though we've set up 10 special investigating units tied to each of these murder precincts. So as soon as there's no investigation, it's the ANC and the SAP's fault, even though we've taken on that task. We put ShotSpotter in a community, and then when there's no response, we say, oh, well, the police didn't come. So why didn't you integrate all of these projects with SAPs before implementing them? What you have is a government that's trying to go on its own, and as soon as it's failed, like it is doing now, it wants to blame SAPs.
All right, Brett, thank you very much indeed. Thank you to all our panelists as well for trying to stick to the time. It's never enough, but the conversation continues. Thank you very much indeed. Gotta go, gotta go.
Gotta go, gotta go. It's been a humdinger, and thank you so much once more to our panel and, of course, to our audience here in Langa at the Civic Centre, and thanks to the City of Cape Town for hosting us.
This week on Wednesday, we're in East London in the Eastern Cape. Please join us then. We're talking rural development. Take care. Bye-bye.
Green innovators and greenpreneurs to understand how they are contributing to the green economy. We are creating cosmetic soaps from the byproduct.
What we teach you at the college is, number one, we teach you how to farm to produce the very food that we're eating.
On the moving services side, we used to be very